Stop for a second. Imagine this. You walk into a room, laughter bouncing off the walls, but instantly something feels off. Everyone else is caught up in the small talk, the eye contact, the handshakes, the stories. But there you are, sensing something underneath it all. A heaviness, a secret, a tension nobody else seems to notice. It's as if there's a second layer to reality, a hidden current running beneath people's words, something invisible that only you can feel. Maybe you've been told you're too sensitive, too intense, or that you read too much into things. But deep down, a quiet voice whispers, you're not imagining it. In truth, this isn't something you chose. You don't remember a time when you didn't live between two worlds, the obvious, everyday world on the surface, and another, deeper world trembling beneath it, always threatening to break through. It's both a gift and a struggle. You find yourself enduring the weight of knowing what isn't said, seeing storms on the horizon while everyone else is soaking up the sun. If this sounds familiar, you're not broken. In fact, you might be exactly the kind of person Carl Jung worried about the most. Not dangerous to others, but vulnerable because of how profoundly you feel and sense, how you move through a life that is never just black and white. There's something that nobody else, not your friends, nor your family, nor your coworkers, truly sees. This second layer, the one that flickers in micro-expressions, in a shift of tone, in the unsaid words hanging heavy in the air, is your permanent companion. As a child, perhaps you were the one who noticed when an adult's smile was a little too forced, or felt anxiety prickling the skin when secrets were thick in the room. You learned early that not everyone gets this running commentary from their own mind. Maybe you kept it to yourself, afraid to sound paranoid, but those whispers of intuition never grew quiet. They only got sharper. Growing up, there were moments when life felt almost supernatural. You'd have dreams that left you shaken in the morning, just to discover weeks later that something similar actually happened. You'd find yourself tiptoeing around certain people, not out of shyness, but because contact with them felt like walking into a storm. You tried explaining it once, how you felt someone's sadness, or picked up on hidden intentions so clearly it almost physically hurt, but you were met with confusion or gentle laughter. People love the idea of intuition until it drifts too far from what they can understand. Still, you watched life play out exactly as you sensed it would. The friend on the verge of a breakup, the colleague with a secret, the boss whose jokes never quite hit his stress. You would see it all, the cracks, the pressure building, the outcome before others could even sense the approach. And sometimes, that accuracy scared you. Most people spend their entire lives skating on the surface of events, tracking only what's immediate, work deadlines, small talk, quick judgments. But your mind refuses to skate. Your mind dives. You're consistently pulled beneath the surface, unable to let things slide off your back or ignore the current while you float above. For you, the world is always layered, always nuanced. Sometimes, that makes life beautiful, like when you sense a friend's unspoken gratitude or witness connections growing in quiet moments. But it also makes life painfully heavy. You absorb burdens that don't belong to you because everything, even other people's pain, seeps through your skin. The world teaches everyone to rely on what can be seen or touched. Facts, logic, proof. These are celebrated. But your mind isn't satisfied with just facts. It's hungry for meaning. Most people ask, what happened? You wonder, what does it mean? Every email carries a mood. Every silence a backstory. Conversations feel like chess games with invisible rules, and you're both captivated and exhausted by how much you notice and weigh. There's a loneliness in this, isn't there? Whenever you try to give voice to your perceptions, you're met with skepticism or dismissal, Lighten up. That's just your imagination. So, you start to hold things in. You shut your mouth, swallow your insights, let other people keep their simplistic stories. Because it's easier to conform than to explain, even if explaining would mean warning someone or validating what you see with a logic they don't yet have. But you feel it all nonetheless. You dream about events before they happen, wake up carrying someone else's pain. You arrive at work unsettled, days before news of real problems break. You notice someone slipping away, at home, in friendships, even in yourself. You witness meetings that seem ordinary on the surface, but underneath, you sense power shifting, relationships shifting, trust eroding. When reality finally catches up to your intuition, there's no sense of triumph, just the ache of being right, but never believed. Carl Jung spent years sitting across from people exactly like you. People living with minds tuned to frequencies others ignore. He watched as the world cheered those with concrete skills, but misunderstood those with deeper, more subtle gifts. These intuitive introverts, as he called them, walked with one foot in reality and the other in possibility. Jung documented over and over how this came with both miracles and suffering. People who could read the room so well they predicted collapses in families, in companies, in entire societies. People whose sense of purpose tangled with a sense of isolation, the burden of seeing too much, but never sharing enough. Because here's the real price. It's not just others who doubt you. After years of living with your inner world dismissed, you begin to doubt yourself. You wonder if it's safer to shut down your sensitivity. You try to fit into the mold the world has built for normal, swallowing your insights, sanding down your edges, keeping your strange feelings hidden. But this too is a kind of torment. Refusing the full experience of your intuition leaves you restless, disconnected, haunted by a reality you're desperate to prove even to yourself. But here's where your story doesn't have to end in silence. Sometimes it's about carving out a life where both worlds, the surface reality and the shadow reality, get honored. It's about finding the rare souls who don't just tolerate your depth, but crave it. It's about practicing tiny rituals every day that reconnect you to the real world. Savoring the taste of home-cooked food, feeling the sunlight on your skin, listening, genuinely listening to music that calls you into the now. These moments of sensation anchor you, stop you from drifting so far into the symbolic that you lose touch with the ground. It's also about refusing to paint your intuition as a flaw. Yes, the world doesn't know what to do with those who see what's not yet visible. But look around. The earth needs visionaries, feelers, healers. It needs people who notice patterns before they manifest, who can intervene before disaster, who sense shifting tectonic plates in relationships, organizations, even history itself. Don't let the world shrink your mind to fit its comfort. Without intuitive introverts, there would be no great psychologists, no breakthrough artists, no leaders who predicted storm after storm. You're not too much. You're exactly as much as the moment requires, even if it doesn't always feel that way. And that, if nothing else, is the quiet revolutionary truth the world needs. When you honor your strange perceptions, when you refuse to stay entirely silent, something changes. You start to trust what your mind tells you, instead of always questioning or hiding it away. Instead of doubting your inner signals, you begin to act on them in small, safe ways, choosing friends with care, stepping out of toxic situations faster, building a life where the hidden and the seen are both welcome. If you're still watching, that means some part of this speaks to you. Maybe you felt invisible in rooms full of laughter. Maybe you've predicted a heartbreak before it happened, carried sorrow that wasn't yours, been told too many times to toughen up. Maybe you've hidden your abilities because vulnerability sounds too much like weakness in our speedrun culture. But what if, just for a day, you accepted every part of yourself? What if being different was precisely what will lead you to real belonging, to people who need what you see, even if they don't know it yet? What if you stopped apologizing for how your mind works, and in the stillness that followed, you finally heard something new, the inner voice that's been trying to guide you, protect you, and remind you that every curse the world assigns can become a gift in the hands of someone patient and brave enough to claim it? Your intuition is not just a survival mechanism. It is how your soul marks its place in the universe, a compass always searching for meaning, for truth, for connection, no matter how impossible it feels. So next time you walk into a room and your body tenses, or your dreams bloom vivid warnings, or you intuitively know that the story everyone else is buying isn't quite the whole truth, don't ignore it. Listen closer. Trust that inner current. Learn to speak it, even quietly at first, because the world needs every wavelength, every voice, and the rarest voices are those who see life's secret layers, who find meaning before the rest of us sense anything is happening at all. That's not just your burden, that's your edge, and ultimately, that might become the very thing that sets you free.